morning, you guys. Rasati out here in Singapore. It's been a minute, and I wanted to talk to you because I get so many questions and I get so many comments and I see so many posts about, you know what? I could never do a long distance relationship, and oh my gosh, you're not talking to me, and oh my gosh, what do I do with all this silence? Like, how am I supposed to take this? What does it all mean? And I get it. You guys are having a tough time, especially with this quarantine, right? Where you're stuck in the house, you can't go out to see anybody. And a lot of times when you're trying to call people, they're not always answering. Why? Because everybody's on the phone, everybody's trying to do stuff, everybody's got their own stuff to handle, right? Some people have a house full of people, some people have no one. I get it. It's different for everybody. But I want to talk to you about the difference between feeling close to someone, even if you're physically apart. I mean, you could be, one town over. You could be 20 minutes away. You could be on the other side of the earth. But there is an intimacy you can still share, and it does not mean you text each other all day long. It does not mean that you spend all day going back and forth talking to each other. It means that when you do speak, it is meaningful and it is connected. So that even when you don't have 50 messages in a day or whatever, you don't feel like there is any kind of a distance between the two of you. And that's the part I really need to drive home, I think. I've had so many people that have come to me, oh my gosh, they're in a long distance relationship. And yes, there is a lot of space in between because time zones are affected, right? You're on different time zones and you have work schedules with the time zones and you sleep schedules with the time zones. And sometimes you are willing to stay up all night just to speak to that person because it's daytime for them and it's nighttime for you. So you make the adjustment or they make the adjustment for you. And that's all great and it's cool and everything. But after a while, it's not meaningful conversation anymore unless you work at it. Sometimes it's, have you eaten? Have you gotten home safe? Okay, cool. I get it. It's almost like the honeymoon phase of your relationship when you get married. And then when real life hits and you're just running in two different directions every day until you come home at night. And then do you actually have meaningful conversations when you're together? Do you eat together? Do you spend time together? All those things matter. So the physical relationship distance does not technically affect the emotional distance within the relationship. Because trust me, you can be in the same house, proximity wise, and still feel like there's oceans between you. You can be in the same bed and feel like there's oceans between you. Trust me, I've been there. Okay? Elephants in the room and all. But that's what I want to talk about. Because if there is an elephant in the room, that means it's being filled up with all the things you don't say to each other. The things that you really should be saying to each other and not to other people to get other people's input on your situation. I had someone ask me, you know what? How do I do this? How do I deal with this thing that they're doing for me? How do I deal with the way they show affection? Because I don't actually enjoy it. And I don't think he understands that, it hurts my feelings when they do this. How do I do with that? You're asking the wrong person, honey. You can ask me and I can speculate all I want, but my advice to you, you need to go straight to the source and tell them that what they're doing doesn't really work for you. It's the same way you would tell a waiter, hey, I have a peanut allergy and I can't take a whole lot of salt because I have blood pressure maybe, right? And so you send the order to the kitchen and the kitchen maybe gets it wrong. You need to be able to tell the waiter, hey, it's a little bit too much salt. I'm glad you didn't put the nuts in. I'm really grateful that you didn't add the nuts, but it's a little salty for me. Would you mind getting me another order? It's the way you ask things, but you have no problem sending the order back at a restaurant knowing there could be a chance that they spit in your food, but you're gonna send it back, right? Why is it we have so much trouble telling the other person things that they don't do well? And I get it. It's for fear of hurting their feelings, but who's hurting when you don't tell them the things that might hurt their feelings? And I'm not saying I should hurt their feelings instead of hurting mine. I'm saying if you could make the relationship better, if you could make the relationship stronger, why wouldn't you say something? You never know. You never know. Maybe buying you flowers is their idea of, showing love and affection because it's what they saw their parents do or their older brother and his girlfriend do. But if you're not a flowers kind of girl, I mean, my sister-in-law, likes the idea of flowers, but she really can't take the smell very much. If she hadn't told my brother, it would be a problem, right? Especially at the wedding. What do you think? So the point being, knowing what you like and what you don't like is really important. Knowing how to communicate with your partner about what you like and don't like is even more important. And then allowing them to take the advice and do what they understand with it is another skill set. How to accept change, because sometimes they're going to get it and sometimes they're not. And there's only so many times you're going to want to correct them or help them through it. And at some point, it means this may not be the right fit for you. Let's keep moving. As in, let's let this go and move on to the next person possibly. There's a lot of pain and trauma involved. There's a lot of room for hurt. But if you don't speak up, which is worse? To stay somewhere where you know you're being hurt every day, or to give yourself the opportunity to not be hurt anymore? I get it. It's scary. And some people are vindictive. Some people don't handle criticism very well, or constructive feedback. I don't know what you want to call it. All those words have such a bad connotation nowadays. But honestly speaking, you were able to take it from your teachers all day long, every day, for the most part. Some of you, maybe your teachers were really, really bad and you really weren't ready to handle that kind of criticism. But somehow you survived school. These are small things that you could adjust that could make your life infinitely better. And if you're afraid to say something, it's just going to get worse. It doesn't give you room. You're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. You're destroying what you could potentially build. You're making a house with a weak brick instead of all strong bricks. I don't know how many other ways I can illustrate this for you. But that emotional intimacy that you want to feel, physical distance has nothing to do with it. I know, digital age, blue ticks, seen, unseen, I got you. I hear it. It hurt my feelings too when I first saw it. But guess what? Back in the day, you had to wait until after 7 p.m. to call somebody because it was free. It was free minutes on your phone, which meant you had more to talk about because you didn't talk about it all day long, every day, throughout the day. You didn't text each other the second something happened. You actually had great conversations in the evenings and tied up phone lines where people couldn't use the internet because it was one or the other back then, and that was not a big deal. Our threshold for patience, not the same anymore. I mean, snail mail? Are you kidding me? Just send me an email. I could get it now. Which is what has made the world faster and closer, and it's made work more crazy and more all-encompassing and overwhelming. But home has never changed. Yeah, you could message your mom and say, hey, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. You can update and geotag all you want, but they still want to know you're safe, but that's for a good reason. Back in the day, they had to trust that you were where you said you were, and that you would get home when you said you would, and you were going to be safe along the way. It was a different level of trust back then. Our trust means nothing anymore. The slightest thing, and I'm going to throw the trust out the window and paint you as a villain, and you're never going to do that to me again, ever. Trust me on that. But that's not how life works, and you don't build that way. There are going to be days where you don't talk to each other. There are going to be days where they got to handle their shit. And when they're ready and they have time and space mentally, they will come back, and it's okay. And you got to trust that they're going to come back. And in the meantime, what do? You don't wait for them. You move on with your life. You do what you got to do. You build. You handle your shit. And when they come back, if you can, you clear your schedule and you be present. And when they go, you go back to doing your stuff. Because your life cannot stop because the other person is not there right now. And yes, it's going to feel like, oh my God, your life will fall apart. I get it. You love them so much. I get it. I have to send my daughter to school every day, which means she's away from me every day for about 6 to 8 hours. Sometimes longer because she does have daycare. And she asked for daycare because she wanted to hang out with her friends a little bit longer. Cool. I'm good. Cool. That means I can actually go out and meet with people and have client meetings until a little bit later in the day, which is a little bit more helpful for them as well. But when we're home, we're home. And yes, sometimes we're in each other's faces, and sometimes she's in one room and I'm in the next. But when we're together, we're together. And I'm present and I love her and I tell her I love her and I'm physically there for her. But you know what? I got to give her the room to kind of figure it out for herself and learn how to do things on her own. Sometimes she gets into this funk where she wants to ask me help for every question on her homework. And sometimes, no, 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 let me do it, let me do it, let me do it. I want to do it, I want to do it. Good. That's what I want. Yeah, I bring up my daughter and our relationship a lot, but you know what? That relationship is the same as any other relationship. It's still two people. It's still managing time and misunderstandings. It's still telling the other person that they're wrong or telling the other person that they're being mean, which is what she tells me a lot when I correct her. And I get a chance to explain to her, hey, I'm not being mean. I'm trying to point out something that I see that could be a potential problem going forward in the future for you. But if you just do this one minor tweak, you'll never have to worry about it again. Why is it we're okay with telling random strangers the truth? And we can't tell our loved ones, the ones that matter the most to us, what we really feel. Yeah, okay, they might be miffed a little bit that they got it wrong all this time. But you know what? The opportunity to get it right going forward, that should be exciting to them. Like, whoa, you mean I could do it right this time? And you won't correct me ever again? And we could work on something else, like some other aspect of our life together? Great. So trust me. Sometimes the distance, the space between conversations, the space between seeing each other, it used to be that distance makes the heart grow fonder. Right now, it's distance makes us lose trust in everything, including ourselves. But it shouldn't be like that. I'm here to tell you otherwise. I'm here to tell you how. You want to know? Hit me up. You got questions? Drop them in the comments below. But know this. Quiet doesn't always mean what you think it means. And that's the problem. It's what you think it means. Quiet needs to be explained by them. And sometimes you'll get an explanation, sometimes you won't. And you got to be okay with that too. Because every question is open to interpretation, and so is the answer. And sometimes you work on it together, and sometimes you don't, and it's going to be okay. It is what it is. I hope you make the best of decisions. I hope you find a way to create for yourself. More than anything else, I really want peace for you guys. And this constant overthinking and wondering and freaking out about, quiet silence, being left unseen or unseen. I mean, some people take off the fact that they're online or whatever because they don't want you to know. They don't want to be questioned every 5 seconds, and I get that. You'd want that for yourself. Why is it we can't allow it for other people? You guys, it's going to be okay. Like I said, it can't rain forever. This quarantine will come to an end. You get to see your friends. You get to go back to the way things were. And generally speaking, I don't think it will be the way things were. It will be different. It'll be a new version of the way things were. And I'm hoping it'll be better. But that depends on you. All right? Keep your chin up, and I'll catch you again soon.